It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, he was the heavyweight champion from 1978 to 1985. It's my pleasure to have on the Sam Lesante Show, Larry Holmes. No stranger to anyone in the boxing world. Larry has a tremendous career, and I'm very honored that he is on the Sam Lesante Show. Larry, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sam, for having me.
It's now after the show, I promise you, I'll give you some updates and tricks on how to box. Okay.
I'm gonna give you some because your son gonna get you.
Larry, let's talk about you. Let's go behind the scenes a little bit. Okay, 11 children in your family,
Yes,
right?
11.
Tell us about your family, your brothers and sisters, and where you came in Georgia, and a little bit about yourself.
Well, we all come from Georgia, and we had nothing. My dad was a sharecropper, and we came here, brought us here, and then some way or another, him and my mother, split up, and that was it. The one who took care of me was my mother, my sister, my older brothers, and I got myself into sports because I like sports, and one thing led to another thing, and next thing you know, here I am boxing.
Well, okay, now coming up, you had to work. The family all worked together. When did you start boxing?
Well, I started boxing because, I just liked to box. I liked to fight. And I used to see these guys fight on TV, and we had the local PAL there. I wanted to get involved with the kids in the PAL. So I went up to the PAL, and they had the little boxing team, and I joined the boxing team. I never thought that I would go into the Golden Gloves or go into the Olympics or even turn professional. Those thoughts were way away from my mind. But I met a guy by the name of Ernie Butler, kept teaching me, training me, coaching me to be better and work harder. And next thing you know, I was in the amateurs. I won the Golden Gloves. I won the Eastern Olympics. I fought my way into the Olympics finals and lost that. And then I turned professional, which I never thought. And I started making a few dollars, not a lot of dollars, but to help my family out. And the rest is history.
So there was nothing, no one you admired when, they go into boxing. Sometimes people say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an actor. There's always someone that they model themselves out of. Did you model yourself after someone?
Yeah, of course. And because in 1971, I ran into a guy, Ernie Butler, my trainer, took me to Deer Lake. I met Muhammad Ali, and we put the boxing exhibition on. He liked the way I boxed, and next thing you know, I had a full-time job, being a sparring partner for Ali for like 4 years. And that's what got me really motivated. Again, being able to get in the ring with one of the greatest fighters of all time, and his name was Muhammad Ali, and it was like, wow, I'm in the ring with Muhammad Ali. Even when they gave me a black eye and they wanted to put ice on it, I wouldn't allow them to do that. I wanted to show that eye out.
That Muhammad Ali did.
Ali done that, man.
Well, I'll give you one after the show. Then you can show everything from Sam Lesante. But when you talk about young people today who are developing any kind of sport, okay, the sport of boxing. Let's talk about the sport of boxing, the discipline that's involved, and how much the dangers involved and the rewards. Okay, I mean, did you just think about that, or did you just?
I didn't think about that at the time, and now I do, because a lot of fighters do get hurt, and a lot of athletes get hurt in the sports that they're doing, and you wonder, is that happening to a lot of athletes? And it is. They got that dementia thing with football guys running into it, that Lou Gehrig disease. They say he never got hit or knocked out, but he did like 10, 11 times with that hard ball. So, later in life, that takes effect. Like Muhammad Ali, they say he got the Parkinson's. Yeah, but he also had that dementia. And that's why he's like it. And you think of the after effect. And I think of it now. I mean, I think I'm okay, but if I'm not, you'll let me know, I'm sure.
Well, I used to watch boxing every Friday night. I think it was on at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's a good sport, but yet it could turn out to be something rather dangerous.
Boxing is dangerous. Everything you do today is dangerous, though. Even when I was coming up here to see you today, boy, some of these people just can't drive on that road. Mm-hmm. So, but those are the chances you take and things you do. And you know, you look at the risk, and if the risk is worth it, you take it.
So you discovered that you wanted to go in boxing when you were in high school or junior high school?
Junior high school.
Junior
yeah.
high school. Then did you do boxing when you were in high school?
Yeah, I did boxing, you know, even before I got in junior high school, I did the boxing. When I was a little kid coming up 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, I was at the PAO, the Boys Club, Police Athletic League, and we had boxing, you know. But it was organized boxing, but we won little medals and little trophies and stuff like that. But it was nothing really serious. And
So someone then gave you the inspiration to continue on to go into a semi-professional.
yeah, but you know, I always wanted to play sports. I was athletic inclined. I played football too. I thought I was real good in that. In basketball, I thought I was good in that. But I thought I was good in everything. But what happened is I dropped out of school. That stopped me from going into those sports because I had no schooling. You had to go to school to go to college to get drafted by the pros or whatever. Boxing, all you had to do is be able to fight.
So what did your mom think about you going
My
in?
mom said, no way. If anybody hit my kid, it's going to be me.
Yeah. Well, that was wrong.
Yeah.
She has a lot of people that she better lie. Is your mom still living?
No, my mom
Champ?
passed. She passed, but one thing good about it, she got to see what I was doing. She had to go and experience the things, and she got to live, you know, like a woman should live when her son make it. I bought her a new house. I built her a new house, and I got her mink coats and stuff like that. And cause we were from a very poor family. We didn't have anything, and when I got a chance to buy my mom something, except for a car, I bought it. She always said, buy me a car. I said, Mom, you don't drive. She said, well, just let it sit in the yard. I'm not going to do that.
You go home and say, Mom, I think I want to be a boxer. Then she gives you a backhander and says, I don't even hear that.
Right.
Okay, so after she gave you the backhander and says, I don't want you to be boxing, you still pursued it, okay?
Yeah.
So what did she have to say, you know, when you continued on with your desire?
Well, she says, just watch yourself, don't get hurt, you know. And
Don't get hurt, you're boxing.
yeah. And even when I made it, people say, hey, listen, Mr. Holmes, I know you're proud of your son. My mom would never give me the props. She would say, listen, I tell you something, I'm proud of all my kids.
That's right. Like any mother would be.
Right.
So what'd she say when you went into your first major fight?
Well, she didn't believe it. She didn't believe I was doing it. She didn't believe I won the championship.
Was she there?
Not for the championship. She was not there. She did not want to go. None of my family wanted to go. They was like this.
Yeah. You know, you come from, I know, you know, back in here in northeastern Pennsylvania, my grandmother came from a family of 13 children, and everyone was 10, 11, 12, and they all started from nothing. They all worked up, and they were all proud of their brothers and sisters. So, what do your sisters do, and your brothers?
Well, they were there. My brothers, they came because they like me. They like sports. They like boxing. And they was all rooting me on. Matter of fact, we all went down the same aisle together. They walked down to the ring with me, and they worked in my corner. So, you know, it was like a family affair.
I had the pleasure of sitting next to Muhammad Ali in Deer Lake, and I'll tell you that story when we come after break. But I want to find out, you know, when you went into your first, major fight, the preparations for it, how much of it is acting before the fight? I know Muhammad Ali was a great actor, but also a great fighter. Folks, if you just tune in, I'm talking to Larry Holmes. He was the world heavyweight champion from 1978 to 1985. We'll talk a little bit about Larry, I guess, doing his own TV show. He has a lot of things happening. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7 for all of you who want to watch any of our shows on ssptv.com. My guest today, Larry Holmes, okay, the former heavyweight champion of the world. The world heavyweight champion from 1978 to 1985, comes from a family of 11. And now your brothers and sisters, they said, were all supportive, but Mom was a little leery. Okay, the very first fight, okay, what do you have to do to prepare for a major fight?
Well, you mainly get a lot of rest and do a lot of hard work, a lot of running, building your stamina. And, you had to box. You had to box a lot. You had to get guys that simulate the other guy that you supposedly be fighting, and go out there and do it 5-6 days a week, and then you take that one day off and you rest, and then back to it, the same thing. You got to eat right, you got to get the proper sleep, and you got to try to get the proper boxing.
So, Champ, how much mental, thoughts are in a fight as well as physical?
A lot of it's mental because you have to try to take away his mind, take him out of his game. So you try to do things, little things to aggravate him, to get him off his game, so that you can take advantage of that. But sometimes that backfires on you. You know what I mean?
You're paying too much attention.
Paying too much attention to that. But when I was out there, I just said my prayers and did what I had to do and went out and fought.
When you prepared for your very first fight, okay, with Norton, okay, well, how was that like? Because it lasted 14 rounds, and it was an interesting fight.
Well, it was a good fight for me because I went to Las Vegas a little earlier, like 4 weeks, and I trained in the desert in the heat, and running and boxing, and really heated out there. It was really hot out there, and I went there just for that purpose, so I could be in the best shape that I possibly can be in. Ate the right food, got the right kind of sleep, and didn't do any of the other stuff that I shouldn't have done.
Now, champ, you had trainers telling you what to do.
Yeah, I had trainers telling me what to do.
So you had a trainer telling you what exercise you'd be doing, what your
No, not really, not with me, because I was like more mature then, and I knew exactly what I had to do, and they just there to watch me. If I make a mistake or do this and do that, they'll tell me to do it, and I done it.
So how was it like the very first time? I know how I felt the very first time I interviewed, Telly Savalas with Jack Palance, and I was excited because, I'm in Hollywood, I'm in California. So how was it, Larry Holmes, first fight with Norton, all the crowds, all the hoopla, what was,
My biggest thing was not to let myself down, not to lose the fight, to win the fight, and to show that I could fight, because the odds was not on my side, it was against me. And nobody would have thought that I would ever win the championship anyway. So I was trying to keep all of that in to prove that I was worthy and I will win the heavyweight championship of the world. And that's mainly what I concentrated on, is winning the heavyweight championship of the world, so that I can say to them, I told you I was going to win.
Yeah.
And, and after I did win, I did tell them I was going to win, but that's one of the bad things about it, telling somebody that you're going to do something.
Muhammad did it all the time.
He did it all the time, but that was Ali. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Thought I was bragging when I did that,
Did you ever have anything seriously happen to you in the fight? Getting hit just a certain way or injured?
I knock on wood, thank God. I never got beat up, never got hit like that. I got knocked down a couple of times in the fight. Came back and fought Mike Tyson in 1988, and he stopped me. That's the only time I ever been stopped out of 75 fights. And he didn't really hurt me or anything. It's just that he got me when I wasn't in condition, when they didn't give me enough time to get into condition to fight Mike Tyson. I really mainly did it for the dollars. So.
That brings me to when you're in the fight, okay, the both of you are professional, and whatever, how much theatrics go in prior to the fight with you and your opponent?
Well, some of them don't like each other, but I think
really don't like each other.
Really don't like each other.
It's not an act.
No.
Okay.
Because it's kind of hard to like somebody that's going to tear your head off. You know what I mean? But we all have respect for each other. We all have, like, if you see me jump up and down with one fight, it'll probably be the first fight when I won the championship from Kenny Norton. I was happy. I jumped up and down. I was, really glad. But after that, I felt, man, I beat up this guy. Why did I beat him up for it, Then I understand why I beat him up for. I beat him up the dollars to make some more dollars. But, I never got.
Well, did you do it for the money or did you do it for the sport? I
did it for the money. Because if it wasn't for the sport, I wouldn't make no money. So, I helped make the sport. And they always said to me, don't say you're doing it for the sport. For the money. People don't like to say you're doing it for the money. Well, I don't want to get hit upside my head and not make any money. Let me have some money out of this.
Cooney.
That's my buddy.
Yeah, well, now what happened? Let's go back to June 11, 1982. There was a little concern here with, with some racial overturns, okay? What happened with Cooney and you guys?
Well, nothing happened with Jerry Cooney and I. It happened with Don King and his manager. They wanted to make it out of a black-white fight to make more money. They did it for the strictly money.
So that was the publicity part.
That was the publicity part. Jerry don't like Larry. Larry don't like Jerry. Jerry's white and Larry's black, and they're gonna fight each other because we hate each other. They're gonna do this, and you're gonna buy more tickets. And that was their motive. And so they said little things to Jerry about me and said things to me about Jerry that made us angry with each other. But that's promoting in the fight. And I tried to explain that stuff to Jerry, which he was kind of like new to it. And I kind of explained, hey, Jerry, look, it's you and I. It ain't about those guys out there. It's about you and I. You beat me, or I'm going to beat you. You know what I'm saying? It's simple as that. But don't let these guys take you off your track.
How much is involved in the strategic method in boxing? When we come back to the break, I want to bring that up, folks. And something's happening in his hometown. He lives in Easton. You still live in Easton, right?
Still live in Easton.
Okay. We're back. My guest, Larry Holmes, will be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7, SSPTV.com. My guest today is Larry Holmes. And, folks, you're in the boxing world. You'll know who he is. He's a tremendous career. You know, he's had 75 fights. 69 wins and 44 knockouts. And if I would have known you back then, you would have had more knockouts because I'd been able to train you a little bit better, okay?
That's right. I'd have never lost.
Never lost. Come from a family of 11. We're talking about, the strategies, knowing, the enemy. And I don't mean the enemy, but, knowing what to do. How much of that's involved in a fight, Larry?
Well, at first it used to be very involved to find out what he do, how he doing it, and if he's running, is he messing around and stuff like that. But then later as I went along, I really didn't care. I wanted just to know if he's going to show up, if he's a southpaw or righty or whatever.
Does that make a
that
big...
makes his hands makes a difference if he fights this way or if he fights that way. So if he fights this way, I know what to work on. As long as I know he fights this way, I don't have a problem. And I don't really worry about it because I adapt pretty well.
I know you had the situation with Cooney. Now, you and Cooney are good friends, right?
Yep. We should call him up and talk to him.
Get him on the phone? Say, Larry, I'm on the Sam Lesante Show. Where are you?
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah, you're pretty on. But now, I want to talk about Muhammad Ali because I had the pleasure of being with him. A person in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, Budi Beltrami, very good friends with him. And at the time, I was in a piano and organ business. And we had this certain organ, and Mr. Beltrami wanted me to take it down to him, and I did. So then he came and he sat down next to me, and he said, yeah, Budi said you were coming down. He said, sit here, So and he's right signing autographs, and we're talking back and forth. He seemed to be such a great guy,
I have nothing bad to say about Ali. Ali was great. Took care of me, gave me opportunity to learn, to be around somebody with his personality, his prestige. He was a great guy, I never seen Ali go crazy, maybe once or twice, but that's it. But he had the right to. But he was a good guy, man.
He was a good showman.
Yeah, he was a promoter.
Yeah.
He made himself. He promoted himself to be the greatest fighter of all time.
So you fought with him. You fought him.
I fought Ali and didn't hurt him.
Didn't hurt him.
I knew I could beat him when I fought him, because I had worked with him for 4 years.
Yes.
I know exactly what he was going to do. And at 38, they say he was old. And I didn't think he was old at 38. He still had a lot going for himself. But, he was fighting me, and I was ready for it. I was in the prime of my life, and I knew he couldn't beat me. But a lot of people said that I could have hurt him, and I could have. But that wasn't a part of the game as far as I'm concerned.
Which leads me to my other question, okay, what I wanted to ask you before is when you're in the ring, and even though you may not like the person, okay, you know the physical power that you have,
right,
and you know the damage you're doing to a person. When do you, as a fighter, as a professional fighter, know when to say, hey, this guy is hurting, other than the referee stopping it, okay?
Well, I tell you what, I've done that a lot of times in the ring. I asked the referee, stop the fight. What I got to do, kill him? If they would let you continue to beat on the guy until he's practically out. Marcus Frazier, for instance, he was young coming up, only had 11 or 12 professional fights, fought his way into the contingency to fight for the title, but I knew he wasn't ready for me. Just like when I worked with his dad as a sparring partner, I knew I wasn't ready for Joe Frazier either, but I knew I could do it well enough to keep from getting hurt for 3 or 4 rounds, and I did that. And I knew that he couldn't do that with me because he didn't have what his dad had. So I hit him and hit him and hit him and knock him down. He gets back up, and I hit him again. I said, "Ref, stop the fight, stop the fight." What I got to do, kill him? And I had to show the referee, convince the referee to stop the fight.
And of all the fights you've had, and I'm sure the many that you had, which one do you remember the most and why?
June 9th, 1978, Kenny Norton, the Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. I was fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. That's the title that I won, a title that nobody in our city ever think I would win. And that's the fight that brought me to light.
Well, speaking of your city, you have you have a couple, you have a nightclub or a few nightclubs?
Nightclub there, yeah.
And what's the name of it?
Ringside.
Ringside.
Larry Holmes Ringside.
And you also, you have a band.
Yeah, Mama Lay, we sing, we travel.
Could I sing in the band?
Yeah, matter of fact, you can sing my whole show now.
No, I just want to, I want to be in the band with you.
Yeah, okay. You can do it.
Okay. Because I have a good voice.
End of the month at the Sands Casino.
Okay.
Oh,
you're only the Sands.
Yeah.
Can't you go up? I mean, the Sands. I want to go to the big stuff in Las Vegas.
They're gonna be paying us. We gotta.
Oh, then I'll come. Then.
Yeah, they're gonna pay us.
$50. I'll do the job.
We're gonna give you more than that.
Okay, now Judge Pinella, okay, a good friend of yours, Jack Pinella, tells me that they are going to be erecting an 8-foot statue, a Larry Holmes statue on your drive, okay, Larry Holmes Drive in Easton. Isn't that a nice honor?
I tell you, I mean, I never thought that anything like this would happen to me. You know, it's an honor and a privilege for me to be a part of that.
What do you tell our viewers about the sport of boxing?
It's a great sport, but I don't recommend it to anybody unless they're going to take it seriously. Boxing is no game. You can get hurt, but you can get hurt in anything. But boxing is a good sport, but it's a game that you got to take seriously.
Well, it was certainly my honor meeting you, champ. You're one great guy, and you certainly have a great sense of humor, and that's important. Yeah. Okay.
I was afraid of you going to come out of retirement.
Well,
I'm glad that's why I only gave you one glove.
Listen, the glove here, I could give you a couple,
I only gave you one glove, so you got.
I can't get the second one
right.
out. I want to help out this, folks. Nice glove. I appreciate it. You are truly a professional person.
Thank you.
My honor. And the one thing I admire you about a lot of things, but doing a lot of reading with you, and I highly recommend you go and Google them up. You'll learn a lot about Larry's ventures. Everything that he's involved with, but you are a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And you're against the odds, Out of the Shadow Valley, the Larry Holmes story, all of those, books that you wrote are certainly inspirational books. Mm-hmm. And you have to come up the hard way like you did. And I'm sure your mom is looking down saying, "That's my boy, and I'm proud of him."
Yeah, she certainly is.
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, my guest, Larry Holmes. Go to the website, learn a little more about Larry, and if you want to see this show anytime, ssptv.com. I want to thank Superior Court Judge Jack Pinella and the President Superior Court Judge Coriel Stevens. And you should check his show out on our website, the Judge Stevens Show, folks. It's really a great show. It's on our website at ssptv.com. We'll see you next time.